Yeah, I feel ecstatic. I think the most important aspect of this pageant for me is the notion that I'm making history, that I'm building on history. So as a Black History PhD student, the reason why I was drawn to the pageant was because of the historical legacy that it has. I'm also a former Miss America contestant. So while I'm grateful for all of the opportunities that the Miss America organization provided for me, I'm extremely excited to build upon an institution that was created for us and by us, and continue to brand, rebuild, and continue on the legacy of Black sisterhood.
My name's Brittany Lewis, and I'm a third-year PhD student in the history department at George Washington University. I'm studying women's history, Black history, and city-suburb formation. I'm a proud feminist, I'm an activist, and I'm an academic. But I'm also a dog hugger, a cinnamon bun lover, and a die-hard fan of the Golden Girls. Unfortunately, I lost my sister to domestic violence when I was in undergraduate school. And as a result, I've made it my platform and my personal goal to keep her memory alive and to help other victims of domestic violence. And I've done that through a three-part program: communication, education, and legislation. By communicating to other college students and traveling through the East Coast to various colleges, I've been able to tell my sister's story and make others aware. Through education, instead of taking a reactive approach to domestic violence, I've taken a proactive approach. And I've been talking to secondary school children about what healthy relationships look like. And lastly, legislation. So working with our government officials to talk about the pros and cons of protective restraining orders. In addition to domestic violence awareness, I'm excited to add returning to our roots, liberation through education as a new platform. So I grew up in a community where people didn't look like me, and we seldom discussed social and political justice. And I was fortunate enough to go to a university that had a strong African American studies department. And it was while I was at the university that I stumbled upon a couple of classes that changed the trajectory of my life. I remember taking a sociology class first, and I saw that all the statistics related to African Americans, women, people of color, they were at the bottom of the barrel in terms of education, incarceration, housing, healthcare. And for the life of me, I just couldn't understand why. I identified with these groups. So one of the things that has always stood out to me, my professor said to me, sociology will give you the statistics, but African American studies will give you the narrative behind those statistics. And I found that narrative to be extremely liberating and powerful. And as a result, I decided that it was important for me to not only get the most that I could out of Black history, which is why I'm a PhD student in Black history now, but to also disseminate that information to other people. I think that's where the biggest disconnect is between the general American public and African Americans. It's that lack of narrative, it's that lack of discourse, and it's that lack of education about our experiences in this country. I wouldn't consider myself a pageant girl. I started doing pageants actually on a whim. I was looking for scholarship money for school, and I eventually just fell in love with pageantry as an art form and as a platform and opportunity to speak about issues that I care about and that I love. So, in 2014, I was Miss Delaware for the Miss America organization, and I will forever cherish the opportunity in those moments. I grew up so close to Atlantic City, New Jersey, where the pageant was held, so I remember every summer I would go with my parents to watch the Show Us Your Shoes parade on the boardwalk, and I looked up to those women. So to have the opportunity in 2014 to be there meant more than anything to me, and I'll forever be grateful for the scholarship opportunities, for the additional connections that I've made, as well as the opportunity to promote my platform. For me, Miss Black America is an opportunity to make a statement. It's not just enough to continue to break barriers and solidify spaces and organizations that initially barred us from participating. It's about reaffirming the importance of institutions that were created for us and by us. It's about celebrating a space that will allow me to talk about Blackness and the Black experience unapologetically. And as we approach the 50th anniversary of this pageant, I'm here to say that this pageant is just as important in 2017 as it was when it was started in 1968. As a pageant contestant, there were several times where I was indirectly told that my opinions and some of the things that I was speaking about, perhaps on my social media sites or in person at interviews, were political. And I think what makes the Miss Black America pageant so special is that, what other pageant systems may consider political is not political, it's personal. And again, it just gives me an opportunity to speak very freely and openly about something that I'm so passionate about. I love this pageant for its historical importance. You know, the pageant was started in 1968 because Black contestants were not being seen on the national stage in Miss America. And that very same night, women's liberation movement was protesting the Miss America pageant. So they were protesting a pageant, but Black women right on the other side of Atlantic City were using pageant as protest. And I still find this pageant to be a form of protest and a reason for us to reaffirm why institutions and spaces created for us and by us are so important.